don't know, dude, if you've ever gotten the respect that you deserve as the innovator in this industry that you were. You know, and you continue to reinvent yourself even today, now doing it through social media. But in ring, I don't know if you've ever gotten the respect that you deserve truly for innovating the way you did.
Well, I think,
do you feel you have?
Everybody knows I invented the Frankensteiner. That's a fact. It's like even here and even in when I went to Japan, that was the main thing they wanted to see. So
right.
And a lot of the suplexes weren't done before when I got there. It was just like whatever. People know. I know, so that's great. And the friends that know is cool with me.
I mean, you're incredibly humble, but I'll say it. I remember watching Scott Steiner, coming up when he was on TV in the 80s, in the late 80s, early 90s, and thinking to myself, oh my God, there's nobody out there that's doing the stuff he's doing, and at his size.
Yeah.
And Tid, I know for you, working as a big guy who used to fly a lot, you were obviously a huge fan of Scott Steiner, right?
I was a monster fan. Anytime I could see a guy who was, that well put together, who is willing to jump up onto somebody like that in the corner and pull that off, I popped every single time I would see it, because now when you see it, it's guys that cruiserweight guys and junior heavyweights and stuff like that that are doing it. But when you actually saw a heavyweight doing that changed the bar for everybody, because everybody else said, shit, now I got to come up with something cool. And there was never anything cooler that you were going to be able to come up with.
The way Scott Steiner did the Frankensteiner, though, was 1,000 times cooler than how these Mexicans do it today.
Yeah, it looks more crisp.
It looked like a drop kick.
It
looked like a drop kick, and then all of a sudden it's like, what the hell did he do? He just killed the guy.
Yeah, that was and fortunately the fans loved it, so that
I think part of the reason they loved it is because it looked so legit, right?
Oh yeah,
driving a guy and through his head.
Yeah, well, basically it was, because you could get hurt if you didn't get it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this. Our guest is Scott Steiner, right here on the O Show. Thank you so much, Scott.
No, no problem, man.
And I said it during the interview, and I'll say it again. That's a side of Scott Steiner I don't think our fans ever get to hear or see. Is humble. Respectful,
brutally honest,
but it's what Rico alluded to. He is respectful. He gets it, and when people don't get it, it hurts him. It offends him. He cares.
People don't care anymore.
He cares, and when you put him over, when I sit there talking about what a great in-ring talent he was and how he never got his just due, and he just kind of you saw his face. He just sort of sheepishly smiled and looked at his boots and said, "Oh, if you say so."
Yeah.
No one can take away that Scott Steiner is one of the greatest innovators pro wrestling has ever seen.
Oh, for sure.
Anyone who denies that is fucking kidding themselves.
I'll never forget the first time I saw the Frankensteiner.
I lost my shit.
Holy fuck.
And I said to him in the interview, it was amazing because it looked like a shoot. And what did he say? It pretty much was a shoot. And the way he did it was so unique and so different and athletic. And, the Steiner brothers, I think as a team, are recognized for what they did. Mm-hmm. And I think most people put the Steiner brothers on their list of greatest tag teams of all time. But Scott himself should be recognized as one of the best pound-for-pound in-ring performers that the sport has ever seen. And if it wasn't for all the injuries he had, he said to me all the time before, he said, Donnie, I can still do like some of that shit, the suplexes, and I can still do like the Hurricane, the Steiner. He did kind of the Frankensteiner. I can still do all that shit, but my back is so fucked, and my tailbone.
Well, he almost died.
He almost died from some serious injuries.
Jeez.
And he's like, I got to be careful with that shit. But if it wasn't for all those injuries, he'd still be doing all that shit. He'd be suplexing everybody out of their boots 50 times a match, Frankensteinering everybody, doing it off the top rope, because he's a machine. But his body broke down. But he still goes out there, and as much as people will say, Scott Steiner sucks now, you know what? He's still fucking believable. You watch those Indians down there at Ring Ka King, and they shit their pants when Scott Steiner comes out.
Of course. You ever see him live? Go to his face and tell him that he's an asshole or something.
There are there are guys in the locker room that are shoot afraid of Scott Steiner. There are promoters that I've worked with that are afraid to go talk to Scott Steiner, and I had to be the middleman. That's the truth.
Well, people got to understand one thing. He's the real deal. The guy's, he's a university Olympic wrestler.
I was going to say,
like,
I think one of the things that Scott Steiner doesn't seem to get enough credit for is how well he was able to rebrand his image from being that, that athletic tag team partner with his brother, not just the look, going from the long hair to the short blonde, but to go and create the Big Papa Pump character and become this completely different type of monster outside
That's
of that.
not easy to do.
And it's not easy
Many
to
guys
do. And
have tried.
so many, wrestlers have tried, failed, gone back to their old thing, tried 4 or 5, 6 different things. None of them were. And trust me, he's in that, I think, small or category that has a small list of people who did it successfully.
To sit beside him and to see it, the physical condition he's still in is amazing.
Oh, it's crazy the shape.
I was just looking at him and like, oh my god, dude.